Brought to you by Alman Auctions, the worldwide leader in antique tractor auctions.
The Cornhusker State is home to star college football teams and star tractors, too. Take a look at this lineup. Dwayne Starr has a hand any poker player would be pleased with. Although these tractors are each a different color, they are indeed three of a kind.
Well, this is the first one that I restored of the three, so this one's kind of my favorite, but having worked for Oliver, this is the one that I started with, and then I thought, well, I ought to have the set of the three, so then I went ahead and did all three of them. This is the Oliver version of the standard models of the three. This tractor here is a 1947 model. I acquired the tractor in Colorado. Well, I guess we've driven this one far enough. Maybe we ought to drive one of those other two. Maybe let's go over and drive a Canadian one. How's that?
That sounds just fine, Dwayne. So if this one is a 60 like the others, why do you call it a Canadian?
Well, this one here was built by the same company in Charles City, Iowa, by the Oliver Corporation. These were built for the Canadian market only. I believe there's about 15 part numbers that are different between the two models of tractor. Well, I don't know. Maybe we ought to take that one for a ride for a little while. What do you think, guys?
Dwayne, you can drive whichever one you like. We just like to see them go.
Well, since this tractor was a highway mower tractor, we ought to take it out on the road and do a little bit of driving down the road. It should be used to the road, so that's where it spent its life, down in the state of Kansas.
The 1948 Oliver 60 industrial model spent its working life with the Kansas Highway Department. It's one of only 851 built. So why is it that Dwayne Starr has such a fondness for vintage Oliver-built tractors?
It probably goes clear back to my youth on the farm. I was raised in a farm in central Nebraska and started driving tractor when I was about 8, 9 years old, I suppose, and so did that. And then I went to work for a retail dealer for the Oliver Group down in Syracuse, Nebraska.
Yes, sir. With more than 2 decades working for the company that built these machines, this is a guy who knows his Olivers. He's got quite a few of them now, and he's also collected the full line of Oliver garden tractors.
If you ask my wife, she'll tell you I have too many in my collection.
Well, don't worry, Dwayne. We've met a few wives that feel that way. Now tell us a little bit more about your set of triplets.
Okay, this is my 1944 Cockshut. This, of course, was built in the Oliver factory in Charles City, Iowa. It was built for the Canadian market, sold exclusively in Canada. This tractor came out of Western Canada. So some of the things that identify this, if you look at the rear axle housing, you'll see that Cockshut is cast into the housing, so that identifies it as a Cockshut tractor. We have the name in the center of the grill here, and of course the decals on the side identify it from an Oliver.
One question Dwayne did have when it came to restoring the 1944 Cockshut 60 was just exactly what color the Oliver company painted them back in the day. Luckily, he had an old friend from his Oliver days to help with an answer.
So I called Gordy and I said, Gordy, what color of red paint did you use on the Cockshut tractors back in the 40s? And Gordy said, well, I really don't know, but he said, if you want me to guess, I can give you a guess. And I said, well, I guess your guess is as good as anybody's. So he said, well, look, he said, we had a barrel of red paint that we were using to paint the red wheels on the Oliver tractors. He said, I'd bet money that we used that same barrel of red paint to paint the Cockshut tractors red that we used on the red wheels. So the two match up, the red wheels on the Oliver and the paint job on our Cockshut here.
Though all 3 tractors were built in Iowa, the original wartime issue tires on the Cockshut were made in Canada. Other differences? Well, the industrial model didn't have a belt pulley since it was mostly used for road work, and it had special mounts on the frame for additional equipment. And Dwayne says all 3 drive like a dream.
They're great little driving tractors. They're easy to steer. I've owned other brands of tractors and gotten rid of them because I didn't like the way they steered. They're hard to turn the steering wheel and so forth. These are nice steering little tractors.
These Mighty Mites, powered by Waukesha engines, were 18-horse tractors that sold for about $900 new back in the 1940s. Today, they're priceless to one longtime Oliver fan who gets to have triple the tractor fun.
It's a lot of hard work, but it's very rewarding, and I enjoy it. I enjoy friendship of the people that are in the hobby, and enjoy taking them to shows and having people come around and talk to me about tractors that they drove, like tractors like this when they were in their earlier years. And so it's an enjoyable hobby.